Hello. Here is a diagram to explain this idea of what we're going to talk about. Now, number 9, as you see, would actually encompass the entire body. It's just that here we have a little body diagram. Here is the head. The eye would be here. It's facing to the left. See the chest and the belly and the butt here in the shoulder region. Just imagine it was an entire person. It has little legs there and the oil field is around it. But what we're going to talk about is these major centers in the actual body here. As you see, there are 8 in the body, and there is the 9th, which is the body's electromagnetic field. Bioelectromagnetic field, to be more specific. Excuse me. And all of these points are points and centers, and excuse me. We'll can explain more about what they are. They are somewhat of physical locations, as well as physical things in the body. Like some of them kind of correspond to organs or diaphragms or glands and such. But also they are spiritual centers of, I believe, resistance specifically, is in this like a point of resistance in the body, like an acupoint is if you measure it electronically. And anyway, it's you don't really need to know about that. You'll feel it out as well. You'll kind of feel the energetic thing of it. So of course, here's number 1, and I have this book here, which is where it's from. This is a very good part of the book. It's actually a book on like ninja techniques and such, and they have a thing on meditation. And here's a hand signature in science. Now, I'm not interested in the hand signs like kanji or whatever, but I am interested in the center meditation, which is what I'm going to talk about. I actually found this book in a bundle of occult works a while ago, and sadly there was a nice book on erotic cultivation that I lost, and it brings me great sadness. But anyway, at least I was able to remember the name of this book and to find a copy of it again. And it is called Ashida Kim, or by Ashida Kim, Secret of the Ninja, and by Paladin Press. That's the printer company. I'll copy the name, put it in the description so you can find a copy yourself of it. As I said, I'm not interested too much in the ninja stuff. I used to be as a kid, but not too much anymore, I guess. I'm more interested in meditation. Anyway, here I will read out some of this to give you a good idea. There are 9 basically significant centers of power. The first of these is located at the base of the spine. It controls elimination and corresponds to the sacral plexus. This is the occult center of the body, which holds the serpent power. It also represents the earth element. Its color is yellow. The tumor or channel of control, called the governor vessel, is composed of 28 active points as ascending from the coccyx of the spine over the skull and ending at the upper gum. If this channel is not functioning properly, one will experience bladder problems, pain in the lower abdomen, in the chest, or hernias. Anyway, so basically the center is located in between your asshole and your tailbone. So look up GV-1, GV-1, or governor vessel 1. That's this center specifically here. So yeah, basically this is the first center you will focus on. It helps you to sit and to stand. That's more or less what we want it for. Because if you cannot sit or stand, then you cannot meditate, you cannot practice these things. To be completely honest, you can't really do anything in life until you can sit and stand, and you walk correctly, you move correctly. If you cannot be in a peaceful, stable, proper state and you can't do anything. If you are not in a proper house, a proper sheltered area, you cannot do much, you know. If you're not secure while outside in the world, you can't do much, etc., etc., etc. So essentially, you sit your ass down, don't have any backrests, you sit on the ground, something. It's not concrete or anything. It's too hard. Just on the carpet or whatever, and you sit, and you have your hands just relaxed, natural posture, posture, whatever works for you, and you focus in the center until you're able to sit for long periods of time, because then you can meditate. Center 2. You see, I've color coded these. The blue means water, the brown means earth. And we'll talk about the others later. Let's see. Okay. The second center of power is the source of the gem, or channel of function, which is the conception vessel. It begins at the base of the genitals and travels up the center of the body, ending on the face just above the chin. Along this path lie 24 acupoints, or points of adjustment if there's imbalance in this channel. Full of energy, the back of the neck will be stiff, and there will be spiritual unrest. This center represents the water element. Its form is circular and its color is white. It controls sexual desire and is categorized by the energy of youth. So yes, very nice. So it responds to the epigastric plexus and develops power generation in the psychic centers. So very good. This one is a strong center for diviners, for people in erotic arts, etc. Yeah, anything to do with waters, always to do with healing and divination. It's a good center of regeneration, along with the third one for the body. So any water centers of regeneration and healing and vaguely related to psychic stuff. Of course, these ones are related to psychic phenomena as well. These ones are more like physical psychic phenomena. Anyway, so 1 second, just gotta orientate things. Okay, and then Earth is related to stability. So they said the channel, it starts from the perineum up way here, while the other channel is from here. Okay, so for women is in between the anus and the vaginal region, and men is in between the anus and the testicles. So it's vaguely around here if your asshole is right here. So you can start to see, you can look up actually CV-1, conception vessel point 1, so you get a better idea of where it is located. And similarly, as I said, GV1. So you can see these are basically the two centers in between your asshole, or and other points, other areas there that go up the body. Now, excuse me. To meditate again on this center, you just focus there. You want to open this one first. You want to be able to sit properly and open this one. And then secondly, you will focus on this one. Now this one, it helps with all kinds of sexual issues, prostate problems, as I said, neck stiffness, all that, genital issues, etc., etc. So if you have trouble getting hard or getting wet or whatever, even to some degree, pregnancy and conception, if a male to be seen in sperm and all that. Fertility issues, it can help with that. So you'll meditate there in this point and to basically tonify it. So that's point 2 on to point 3. The hara, 1 point, is the site of the third center of power in the body, located approximately 2 inches below the navel. This is the body's center of gravity. It also represents the water element. Okay, and then it relates to the positive arm channel. You have to look it up yourself. Blah, 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 blah. Talk about disorders. Yes, before the student can begin to practice the actual techniques of Kuji Kiri, which is this kind of practicing. It just goes for any kind of spiritual teachings, whatever. He or she must learn to keep the 1 point. So more or less, you need to learn to sit your ass down. Then you need to learn to calm your sexual desires, or to keep them strong. Because I'm not trying to get rid of this stuff, and I recommend you don't as well. Like no fat bullshit. Whatever. Just, maybe I'll talk about that later if people are interested. But we're trying to get rid of this stuff. We're trying to heal it. If once you heal something, it's not toxic. So once you heal your sexual trauma, or whatever, it's not a toxic thing. It's a natural part of you. So it doesn't interfere. Similarly, it's helps you keep the flow. Then a third point is the center of gravity, which helps you keep a 1 point, keep balance essentially. So I'll talk about that in a minute. By relaxing, concentrating the mind on this, even when moving into life, one is able to achieve perfect balance and mental stability. Isn't that lovely? Develops coordination of mind and body. Yeah, it's pretty true actually. The next objective is to transmit this power effectively. This involves the concept of chi, the inner force. Chi is the spirit of the mind. Blah, 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 blah. This center develops faculty intuition, increases the power to known oneness. Leads to understand of good and evil. That's interesting. Yeah, okay, so this is, if anyone practices spiritual things, they know about this exercise. They've probably done this before. Focus on the lower dantian. Focus on the center of gravity, the hara. Chances are you know about this. It's the first thing that you do. In martial arts, they teach you this. Now, the interesting thing is that these two senses are neglected, maybe because no one wants to talk about your arsehole and your genitals. But thankfully, we have people like Mantak Chi or whatever who will talk about that, or other spiritual teachers. So anyway, this is a center of gravity. If you really want to experiment and understand what I mean by that, stand up and move your torso to the left and the right, your arms to the left and the right. Try to hinge yourself around the hips, around this center of gravity. It's basically the area below your navel, and you will feel where it is, because when you move your body and you start to move the lower area of your torso, like you're bending over forward, kind of like you're doing that like a Naruto run or something, you're trying to bend forward, you'll notice the body will start to topple over. It'll start to, there's too much weight going forward or backwards or left and right. You then feel that it is this area in the body which controls this weight. It has this weight in it. This is the center of gravity. And it's how you kind of understand a lot of movement, and you do a lot of intricate martial art work, because if you can balance in the center, you will be physically stable. You want balance. Again, it's to do with water, the balance, the rippling, the tide, and that kind of crap. Yeah, it's a good all-round point. It's something you have to kind of cultivate quite well, quite strong. It can also help with regeneration along with the second point as well, because this is the sexual energy. This is also vaguely sexual energy related to, which is regenerating energy for the body and such. Or sexual essence and all that. So yeah, that's how you feel that center out. Again, to meditate on it, you just sit and focus on it. And as I said, you kind of have to have these two down. You have to have them open, these acupoints open and strong. or else you won't be able to sit properly and you won't have a good flow. Okay, then the third unit, you unlock the belt. Fourth is the navel. Now you have a belt, I forget the name of it, but you can look up, it's one of the 8 vessels. So if you look up the 8 extraordinary vessels, you will understand it. Anyway, I'll read this out. The fourth center of power in the body is located at the side of the navel. The channel of energy which flows from this point is known as the timer or belt channel, yes, and passes around both sides of the body encircling the belly. If it is not functioning properly, the belly will be distended and the waist will feel cool and wet, loss of appetite, another symptom. This center is concerned with digestive functions. Its counterpart is the solar plexus. It represents the fire element. Its form is triangular. This level is categorized by spirit and a successful conclusion of meditation. In this state, the mind becomes one with the object of meditation, together with the concept and the name of the object. In combat, the ki or spirit shout is drawn from the source. I was just about to mention this. It talks about spiritual power or some shit here. Transmit this power effectively. The concept, the inner force of chi. Okay. Chi is the spirit of the mind. Basically, mental, the force of the mind through the body, is one way to put it. Now, around the around this whole area here is the that force, which that was with the voice. I don't want to like piss off the whole neighborhood. Admittedly, the other day I was lifting some weights and a dog was barking and I yelled, and I almost scared myself because I had all that testosterone, that fucking manliness in me from all the weightlifting, and I was just like lifting them up so my voice was warmed up, and then when I shouted, it was like fucking rippled and echoed in the whole area, and it just cleared the air. Like that was crazy. So that is where the power comes from. Is that if you do that, you forcefully blow out. It pulls from the root. From that first center. You need that again stable. The second center. If you have like problems there, it's gonna hurt. The third center again. The third center is where you kind of pull that spiritual energy up, densify it, and you pull it, and then the fourth center, it's like a pump. It's the navel, the abdominal pump. Try that out. Same thing when you're using Fa Jin. I want to make a video on, so if you're interested in that, just tell me down below. But that's how you do it. That's how you do Fa Jin. Is you push using that inner force and inner pressure. Anyway, let's see what else there is. And a bunch. Okay. So back here. So realistically, it's kind of this whole area. I did it a little thin just to show the example of the belt. But basically, the idea, the location behind your navel in this entire area of the the body. Okay, and it's related to the fire element as it's read. Now these ones are air, and I'll talk about the fifth. Fifth center of power is located at the solar plexus. Yeah, solar plexus is kind of, the ribs are kind of like here. Here's the kidneys a bit like here, so it's around solar plexus. It's around it represents the air element and is symbolized by 2 triangles one facing up, the other down. So the symbol of the Stare David. Which I believe in the chakra model they use that for, I forget if it was the navel or the heart. It should be the heart chakra, I'd imagine. The center controls the respiration, the channel then, or thrusting channel. Alright, blah blah blah. If this channel is not functioning properly, digestive disorders will be seen. One second. Yeah, so it talks about a lot of internal, somewhat advanced concepts. You'll have to read about this on your own. It's a bit too much to explain. Just give a brief explanation. Blah blah blah. Okay. Yeah, that talks about prana. Okay, whatever. Basically, to breathing center. If anyone knows what the diaphragm is, it's kind of around here, I think. So, yeah, so where your lungs sit on. This is kind of like the diaphragm area, so it creates that pump. And you've also got a sphincter, I think, around here. It's related to that vaguely as well. The yogic people, or the Vedic people, say that this is where your karma is stored, so you can quickly burn away karma. I would say it's because a lot of karma is related to emotions and the heart and people. I did a video on the heart and all that stuff, so that's a good watch if you want to get more understanding of the center. It helps you with breathing and all that kind of crap and connection and opening up the chest. Again, all this stuff is an upward flow, so it's an opening. Yeah, you can kind of think this is like the first gate of heaven, the first gate to the upper world. This is the underworld, this is the upper world. Yeah, so that's the fifth one, related to air, of course, because of the breath. Sixth is related to air because it is the voice. Now, its location, I believe, is if you kind of feel the back of the spine, you feel this giant ass bone. The back of the neck, I mean, the lower neck region, you feel this giant ass bone there. I think that's kind of the location of this, and also the back of the neck, the upper area as well. At least I know that giant bone is a nerve plexus, so if you like hit someone there, you really fuck them up. So be very careful about striking that or anything. Even if you hurt yourself there, it's not a lovely place. Cool. The sixth center of power is located behind the throat. It controls speech and hearing and corresponds to the pharyngeal plexus. Its element is air. Its color is the shade of pure seawater. How lovely. It talks about the channels, and if this channel is not functioning properly, one will be unable to sleep. That's not so fun. Yeah, that's why they kind of say the throat. It relates to the gate of sleep. Sometimes they say paralysis and weakness, and like nervous system disorders. To some extent can relate to this. Let's see if they got any other cool shit. Yeah, just talk about. Yeah, okay, so basically relates to your speech and your hearing and inner voice, the inner being able to speak inside of yourself. If you know what that is, it's talking yourself. and is located vaguely around here. The whole center, though, the whole throatish area, vaguely works to an extent. But yeah, from the back of the throat is kind of the power center. See, I'm tensing, tensing the throat, and that is the passive, the center of tension, the center of power, because this energy, this tension, relaxation, body. So you try to feel where can you like. I'm tense in this area. That's kind of rude. Anyway, you can practice that on with me. So, yes, more senses of power. This one's a good one. It's a fun one. I forget if I've talked about the head center on videos. I've planned to, maybe if not. Anyway, the seventh center of power, excuse me, is located at the site of the third eye, slightly above and between the eyebrows. Place it here. Eyeballs kind of there, eyebrows. Yeah, negative leg channels. You'll look that up yourself if you want. One will sleep too much if it's not functioning. Very good. Okay. This center represents the highest level of mind. Meditation on this site enables one to gain control over the various nerve centers of the body. Here is the astral counterpart of the sensory and motor nerve fiber of the spinal column converge. Here also that, excuse me. Alongside these travel the nerve impulses which control the body. Okay. One will also note an extraordinary spiritual strength, knowledge, and willpower. This is the center. This center is the seat of the force in the body. It's very important. Its color is snow white. Shape is triangular, and the acquisition of a higher voice or intuitional knowledge and clairvoyance resides in the center, as does the soul. Soul is here. It is here that the ninja directs his chi at the time of death. With continual practice, the certain power of the first center rises not to this level, but to the next. The cortical surface of the brain, yes, so the next center, okay. Yeah. This one's a fun one. Third eye center in the chakra model. Basically, this is the center of the soul, and you kind of understand what I mean, and you focus here, because it's the center of the senses. It is where everything congeals and comes together at, all energetically and such. So yeah, it's kind of like if you just rip this part out of yourself, you wouldn't really exist. It's what you're gonna like put your soul in your foot or your butt or your belly or something. Well, you can try, but you don't really have the hardware or software to process it there. So excuse me, it's a very interesting center to meditate on. And as they said, you know, it unlocks all that psychic, intuitional power and such. And so if you, this one, along with, as I was saying, the lower centers as well, it's because that's the receiver. That's kind of the receiver of like the more physical, psychic intuition. This is also a receiver to some extent. I mean, they're both receivers and senders, whatever. We'll just accept that. But yes, it's more like imagination and psychic, inner psychic abilities and such. So yeah, it's a fun thing. It's a fun one to play around with, of course. And of course, your sensory center, so it clears up your eyesight, and ability to process reality, to keep a clear head. Anyway, onto the eighth, which is basically the what they call it. Is it called the cerebellum? Cerebral cortex, whatever that thing is. So basically the chunky thing on the top of your head, top of your brain. Yeah, they screwed up the pictures here, I believe. But forget about that. The eighth center of power is located on the cortical surface of the brain. It is known as the thousand-petal lotus in the Indian tradition, because when visualized, this is the imagery created. You basically just get a bunch of electrical light sparks and all kinds of crazy shit. And this one kind of makes you, the eighth one kind of makes you hallucinate. So have fun with that. Be careful, please. Make sure to open the lower center or your higher center. Yes, when chi permeates the center, the sensation in the body is one of floating upwards to the surface, much like blossoming of the lotus. It's very cool. Let's see. What passes through this level is the spirit and matter. Starts to combine the ultimate state of bliss. Take in a lifetime or even more. Yeah, this one's hard to open because you got to open all the rest, and if you don't open all the rest, they're like, it's like a bunch of I'm imagining like some kind of animal, maybe like a rabbit or a dog, has a bunch of little bunnies or little puppies or kittens or whatever, and they're all hungry. That's what the senses are like. They're like a bunch of hungry kittens or hungry bunnies. And you have to feed them all. And if you don't feed them all, then it's sad. So make sure to. Anyway, or you just go like fucking nuts because you haven't got the grounding yet. But I imagine you're a stable, societal person, aren't you? Yes. Eighth center. Basically, it's like these two are the enlightenment centers. They didn't specify an element here. They kind of like, the element is ether, elementless. Excuse me. Just like the electromagnetic element, or the element of space and pure pressure, or a lack of pressure. Anyway, so yeah, these two will grant you a sense of enlightenment. The seventh, because it clears out your senses, and this is just like the core of the soul, or the big center of the soul. And the eighth, because it, like, I don't know, when you open up the roof of the head, it just kind of like makes you yeah, feel pretty good, pretty chill. Just like, yeah, you just sit on your ass and do nothing. I don't know if anyone's read William Burroughs, I think. He described when he took heroin, he could just sit and look at his shoe for hours. I guess maybe it's a little bit like that. Who knows? So this one, as I said, you want to open up the other centers first. You don't, again, it is slowly open up. Or focus on one and also do the whole body at the same time. Like focus on this while at the whole body, and some of them will slowly open up. But then you kind of do. Anyway, yes. So the eighth center, it is like pure intention, pure consciousness to some extent. This one's also kind of pure consciousness as well. But this one, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain. It's just like, you get this lovely sense of peace, lovely sense of just being, and it's nice. It kind of hurts to open up. It's like if you haven't fixed all the others, it's like you're trying to get something open with a screwdriver, and you kind of shove it in some kind of piece of plastic that's screwed together, and you try to rip it open. Not very fun, but You'll have to experience it someday. Anyway, on to the ninth. I don't know if there's much written about the ninth here, but let's see. Ninth center of power is the aura of the body, Tao, enlightenment. This is true enlightenment because it's enlightenment, or they didn't really have a word for electricity, so this is more like electrification of the entire body, or a pure electromagnetism. And that's what it will feel like, because all this shit's electromagnetic, bioelectromagnetic, where you kind of feel, you'll feel it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Once you do it, the aura consists of an electromagnetic field surrounding the physical self, radiating in all directions. The strength and extent of the field are determined by the individual. Okay, yes, it talks about all this ninja shenanigans, which I'm not interested in. Yeah, and they don't show you the hand signature. Or maybe it's that one. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so the aura field. Just pretend it's encompassing the legs as well. Yeah, pretty much the ninth is the entire aura field, which is important because, of course, we can't spend our life focusing on all the little individual places and whatever. And during daily life, usually you will focus on the entire body. Usually after focusing on a center, you will, you'll regain the focus to the entire body, and that is a good thing, because otherwise you can kind of fry centers if you're not doing it correctly. Though I will admit, yeah, I spent my entire day doing center cultivation meditation. So you can, it's just if you start to run hot a little bit, like, 'cause again, it is like electrical stuff. If you start to burn up the parts of your body, get internal heat, you want to cool it down a little. You want to stop and just be careful. Of course, sometimes focusing at a center, it does heat up because it's opening up. But it all is what it is. Anyway, so that is the 9 major centers of the body. This is kind of like a chocolate model, but little bit different. A little bit different. I like this one more. Chocolate model would just be root, which they have as a perennium. Then it would be, sometimes they kind of have this whole area as a root, so to speak. Then this would be the sacral, this would be the solar plexus, this would be the heart, this would be the throat, third eye, crown. And yeah, then you'd have your 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 chakras, yeah. Okay, so there you have it. Make sure to practice it or try it out if you like it. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good cultivation part. So, yeah.